We all know how much it sucks to collect wood in Minecraft. So today I'm going to build a huge lumber mill to make this process a little bit more enjoyable. This will include multiple automatic tree farms for the different types of saplings in the game, along with a fully organized storage room for each type of the logs. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already. And if you want the world download, there'll be a link in the description going to my Patreon where you can find the world download. Anyways, let's get to it. Step one to this project is I'm gonna need to find a location to build this huge wood factory, and I have something in mind, which is having a flat area and then a hill and then another flat area. Luckily, I think there's a location right over here which is going to be perfect. It is gonna require quite a bit of terraforming, but at least it's already started for us, I guess you could say. This is the spot right here. It's right behind our starter island, and it's really hard to see what the hell is going on since there's so many trees. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the trees so I can explain what I'm thinking. And hey, if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Hopefully you guys can now see what I mean when I say a flat area and then a hill and then another flat area up on top. As good as this looks already, I am definitely going to need to do some terraforming here because I don't love how it kind of is rounded. I want it to have a sharp edge to it and almost like a straight up cliff. But before I can actually do that, I'm going to need to go collect up some stone. Luckily, I already have a silk touch pickaxe, which means I'm not going to have to smelt any of the cobblestone into normal stone, but this thing still doesn't have efficiency yet, which means it doesn't really work on this cobblestone generator, or at least not very well. So making a quick trip down to my skeleton spawner XP farm, I'm gonna kill a couple skeletons, get myself up to level 30, and hopefully I can get efficiency on a pickaxe, so then I can combine it with my silk touch pickaxe to get a much better one. Oh my god, dude, really? Just unbreaking 3? Oh, gotta go again. All right, take 2. Let's hope it's a little better this time. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's the exact same pickaxe we already have, but I'll just go ahead and combine these two together, but I don't want it to be fortune. I want it to be silk touch, and holy shit, it's 24 levels. Oh my god. Wait, no, I think I did that wrong. This is the silk touch one. Okay, much better. There we go. Once back up to the surface, I spent a couple minutes at the stone generator and was able to get 10 stacks of stone fairly quickly, which means I can now start terraforming this area, which I first want to actually bring some of this terrain back a little bit because I want to make sure I have plenty of room right in this area to do some smaller tree farms for things such as acacia or dark oak, which are the wood types I really don't use often. I also should fill in any of these holes, so yeah, there isn't holes in the ground, you know what I mean? You know, I'm actually gonna bring this back 3 more blocks because this doesn't feel like enough space. And perfect, we can just leave it like that. No, I'm just kidding, that looks absolutely awful. I'm gonna use a little bit of stone and start to build a wall almost that I want to resemble a cliff. There is our cliff, but it's looking way too much like a wall, so I'm just gonna go through and start adding in like little areas where rock is built up, and I think it will help sell the idea that this is like sort of a cliff area. Up on top of the cliff here, I actually want to flatten all of this out because I don't like the look that the wall or the cliff ends here and then there's more dirt even higher up. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of all of this. So far, I like how this is looking, especially with the flatter area up here, which is probably where the factory is actually going to go. But I want to continue this cliff and sort of give it a rounded edge right here and then have it go back and then round again and then meet up all the way over there. For right now, I'm obviously just using stone for this entire cliff, but I am planning on coming back through a little later with some andesite and mossy cobble to give it a little bit of texture. Because right now, all of the stone honestly does not look very good whatsoever. So far, I think the wall is looking very good and we have plenty of space down here to put in a lot of tree farms, but I definitely cannot leave this area, looking like this. I don't really know what I want to do with this area, so I'm just going to start off by chopping all of these trees down. and then going through and placing a whole bunch of torches in, because for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring the dirt up to the same level as the area around it, and we can figure out what we want to put in this area a little later, but I'm thinking we could probably just do some more tree farms. Wow, this area ended up being significantly larger than I originally anticipated it being. I mean, we have all of this space down here along with the space on the front side, and then we have even more space back here, which I'll probably just end up putting more tree farms because it is a sawmill at the end of the day. Although I think I can happily say most of the terraforming is all complete besides some like small little things like that, but that can wait till later because I need to go swim around in the bottom of rivers and lakes to collect up a crap load of clay because I'm planning on using brick as the main block for this sawmill. I am going to keep my eyes open for any azalea trees because if I can find a lush cave, it is going to make collecting up all of this clay a whole lot easier, but I still have yet to find one in this world. I wish I could say I'm confident this is going to be more than enough clay, but I'm fairly certain that it's actually not going to be enough. But I need to go back to base no matter what because my inventory is all full, so I might as well get this stuff going in the furnaces. Once I was back to base, I started smelting as much clay as possible, but that is when I ran into my next issue is I am completely out of coal or charcoal. I did set up a lava farm last episode, but it hasn't produced quite enough lava yet to smelt all of this clay. So instead, I'm going to go search around some other caves trying to find some clay deposits using my Fortune 3 pickaxe. God damn it. Oh my god, this guy came out of nowhere. Get out of here and don't catch me on fire. Okay. Oh my god, another one. Dude, what? What the f? Oh my god, dude. Is there like a spawner up here or something? No, I don't think so. Dude, they came out of nowhere. This could be a horrible idea, but... Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot. Diamond armor's pretty good, especially when you have it fully enchanted with protection, blast protection, and yeah, you know what. Oh my god. If you can't tell, the last couple minutes in that cave got pretty chaotic, but I was able to get out of there with a couple stacks of coal, which I crafted into coal blocks to finish smelting up all of the clay. I'm gonna need another block that I can texture the brick with, which normally I would use granite for an application like this, but instead I think I actually want to use just plain terracotta, which I can craft using 4 pieces of clay, and then throw it into the furnace to get myself 1 piece of terracotta, which means I need to go back into the rivers to go collect up more clay. If only there was another way to get this stuff, which obviously, as most of you know, there is another way to get this stuff if I can find myself a Badlands biome. Since I'm already near the warm biomes such as a savanna, desert, and jungle, I decided to keep following these, and eventually I actually did come across a Badlands. You know, it's not the largest Badlands biome I've ever seen, but size doesn't matter. What am I kidding? Size totally matters. After a few minutes of crying to myself, I went ahead and collected up 10 stacks of this terracotta, which should be more than enough for this sawmill build, along with maybe a few other builds in the future. Dude, and of course, there's azalea trees right over there after I spent all that damn time collecting up the clay. Oh, there's one even right here, which, oh my goodness, there's literally a lush cave right below me. You know, whatever, I'm just gonna collect up a decent amount of this red sand too, so I can use it to craft some red sandstone a little later. Once I had about 8 stacks of red sand, I collected up these cactuses because I don't remember if we have them already back at base, along with jumping down into a cave opening to collect up a couple of the lush blocks and even some of this rooted dirt since it's as valuable as gold. Not literally, it's just like a huge pain in the ass to collect up because it's really only under these azalea trees. Once I had about 2 stacks of this stuff, I went ahead and made my way back up to the surface and traveled all the way back to base, which was only about 2,000 blocks away. If you're playing along on the same seat as me, I'll make sure to leave the coordinates to the Badlands biome down in the description. And just like that, I have the main building blocks out of the way. I just need to decide what wood type I want to use with the terracotta and brick. I know oak looks really nice up against these 2 blocks, but I was also thinking about maybe using spruce, but yeah, that might be a little too dark. You know, I might just try and incorporate both of them using an oak roof maybe and then spruce as the trim for it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, which are the famous last words. Although after searching through all of my chests, I couldn't find much spruce, nor could I find much oak. Oh, thank God. Okay, I have 3 stacks of oak logs in here, but I still really don't have any spruce. So grabbing 8 spruce saplings and about a stack of bones, I can just bone meal 2 2x2 spruce trees. At this point, all of the clay had now smelted up, so I can craft it into bricks, along with crafting a few other things like a full stack of lanterns, which always feels so damn good. Now that I have an inventory full of a bunch of different blocks and items, I think it's about time we get building on this lumber mill. To start things off, we're gonna place our first corner block in right about there, and I actually want to do something like so, and then I want to do a 5 block gap. Is that, nope, I can't count. That's not 5 blocks, that's 6. And then I'm gonna go, let's say 3 blocks and do another 5 block gap, and then this can be the corner. Let's get rid of that block. Coming over to this side, we're gonna do another opening that is 5 blocks. Once again, can't count. That is 6. I went ahead and mirrored the blocks from the front side of the building onto the back side, but honestly, I don't think this is going to be large enough for this lumber mill. So I went ahead and made it a little bit bigger just by extending this gap from 5 blocks up to 7 blocks. From here, I'm just gonna go ahead and build these walls up quite a bit higher. I want the building to be, I want to say like 10 blocks tall. So far, I like how this is looking. The only thing I don't love is this archway right here. I think I might do another stair going up and make it a little pointier. I'm really not a fan of doing the stairs next to each other like that. It just looks a little funny. So instead over here, I did a stair, slab, and I think that looks pretty nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it to this one now. Once I had the front of the building to a point that I liked, I just needed to go ahead and mirror everything to the backside and also figure out how I wanna do the openings on the sides of the building since they're a little bit larger. I eventually just decided to bring them in 1 block on each side, making the gap only 5 blocks wide, similar to the other openings. But these ones are going to be 1 block taller, making them feel a little bit bigger than the other ones. This building is 100% going to be big enough because it's not the only structure we're going to be building in this lumber mill area. Lumber mill, lumber yard, I'm actually not sure. Anyways, I got to build a roof. Coming up with a design for this roof was actually much more difficult than I anticipated. I originally started by doing a mix of slabs and stairs, but I didn't love how this looked, so I got rid of the slabs and continued the stairs, but then the roof was way too tall for the building, so I ripped all of the stairs out and used only slabs for it, which I still don't love, but I think it's definitely a better solution than stairs. Having that second peak in the roof line is something I didn't plan on doing, but I think it looks pretty nice, so we're gonna go ahead and keep it. Before filling in the rest of the roof, I need to fill in all of these gaps that are below the peaks, and I just opted to continue the brick and terracotta all the way up to the roof trim. With that now complete, I could fill in the entire roof using oak slabs, which at first it looked a little bland since it was like completely oak slabs. So I came back through in the end and added in small windows using some spruce for the trim around the window. Dude, this thing is looking so sweet, but it is definitely missing some key details. I mean, just look at that wall. There's nothing going on besides the lantern. Luckily, I do know a little trick we can use to make that wall look better. I just need a little bamboo. But I can't speak English. I just need a little bamboo from our auto bamboo farm, which is it not working? Dude, what? How is this thing not working? We can figure that out later. I'm just gonna harvest some bamboo from the side of the house so I can craft some scaffolding along with a crap load of oak trap doors because I can actually use the scaffolding to almost mimic a window a little bit, and it looks really nice up against the terracotta and brick. And for the trap doors, I can either put them on the side like this or I can go above. Actually, you know what? Instead, I'm going to do this and then do a trapdoor like that, and same thing on this side, and then some trapdoors on top, and then maybe some below. Let's see how that looks. Okay, maybe not so much trapdoors because it kind of blocks the scaffolding. Yeah, that is definitely better. I did a half slab and then 2 trapdoors on top of each other, and I think that looks really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that in a few random spots along all of these like big open walls. I also went ahead and crafted a whole bunch of oak buttons and placed them around the building because I think it's just a nice little detail that adds a little depth and also some more texture. And if you're wondering if this dirt here is a mistake, no, it is not actually. I think it looks so nice up against the terracotta and brick. Anyways, I've spent far too long working on just this one structure, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick it into overdrive and get this thing completed. Dude, this thing is all finished up and it is looking so freaking cool. I just absolutely love it. It's a little chaotic in here, but that's kind of the vibe I was going for by just having like logs all over the place and kind of planks and stairs and slabs. And I think my favorite detail is underneath the actual stone cutter right there, which is supposed to act like a sawmill. There's a campfire putting some smoke up, so it just kind of looks like it's coming to life in here. We also have some logs in the corners of the building held up by trapdoors. I'm missing one right there, still gotta put that in. But I'm sure you've noticed that there's no place for any wood storage in here because I'm planning on building a completely separate structure to hold all of our goods / wood. Although before we start building that second structure, I actually want to go ahead and start building some of these tree farms, and I am gonna need a ton of iron to craft a crap load of hoppers. Luckily, we built this iron farm last episode, which appears to be overflowing again. Oh my god, dude. This thing is crazy. It's constantly in a state of just overflowing. I swear to god. That should be more than enough iron though. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll deal with that later. For example, I already have almost 2 stacks of iron blocks in here. I have almost another 3 in here. And then I think back at the main house, I have like 5 or 6 stacks of iron blocks. It is insane. Besides just needing iron, I'm also gonna need a ton of wood because I need to craft like a crazy amount of chests. So I'm just gonna spend a few minutes bone mealing some of these 2x2 spruce trees to get like 5 or 6 stacks of logs. Once I had more than enough wood, I could craft all of the logs into planks and craft a grand total of 2 stacks of hoppers, which I don't think I've ever been able to do so effortlessly in a hardcore world. Jesus Christ. Anyways, the first set of farms I'm gonna be building are for the oak and birch trees, which are gonna go down in this flat area. I just want to extend it out actually by like 2 or 3 blocks because I originally should have built that cliff maybe 2 or 3 blocks back. Wait, what am I doing? I should just be getting rid of the blocks to make it see like the same level as the sea. Now that the dirt is out of the way and this platform is also expanded, my plan for these tree farms is to actually throw some coarse dirt down like that. We'll go 2 wide. On the front, I'm going to throw a chest down with some hoppers behind it like that. And then I'm just going to run the hoppers all the way around this platform of coarse dirt. And I'm not just going to do 1 layer of them. I'm actually going to do 2 on all sides besides the front. Going around the border of all of these hoppers, I want to go ahead and place some stone brick in along with some stone brick stairs. So we end up with something that looks sort of like this. You know, that's a lot bigger than I anticipated it being. You know, and after taking a second look at this thing, I absolutely freaking hate it. I'm going to get rid of it and rebuild it so it's not nearly as bulky. I ended up going with a much simpler design, which uses about half the amount of hoppers the first style used. Not that it really matters, because I can make as many hoppers as I want since I have so much goddamn iron. Once I had one of the oak farms complete, I went ahead and built a birch one next to it, and then decided to build another oak one after that, because oak logs are one of the most used blocks in my opinion for at least myself, so I want to make sure I have plenty of trees to harvest. Once again, not that it matters, I completely underestimated the amount of hoppers I'm gonna need to build these tree farms. Not only did I go through the 2 stacks that I crafted, I had to craft another like 20 to finish up this last one. Even though I have more than enough iron to craft all those hoppers, I am gonna need some more wood to craft some chests, so time to, you know, bone meal some more spruce trees. It's like the never-ending cycle. Hopefully this whole... What the We're just gonna ignore the fact that that tree just engulfed me and continue collecting up a couple stacks of spruce logs so I can then craft another 2 stacks of hoppers, which should be enough for a couple more tree farms. Another 2 stacks of hoppers later, I want to go ahead and start building the spruce tree farms, which are a little more difficult than the rest because these are going to be designed for the 2x2 spruce trees, but when those grow, they change the dirt or at least the ground to podzol, which I really don't want to happen. So I'm gonna do one right here, I think. Yeah, I like that location. Although I don't know why I got rid of the dirt because I actually need that there. But I'm just gonna go ahead and build a, let's say, what is this going to end up being? A 5x5 or 6x6? And then turning it into a circle, because when the leaves grow on these trees, they are sort of in a circular shape. Or I mean, it as circular as you can get from Minecraft. And then I'll just go ahead and put the chest right there. I can just do something like that and then place in all the hoppers, and I have no idea how much this is going to take, but I am sure it's going to be a lot. Well, that took almost a full stack of hoppers, just slightly under. But now I just want to go around the outside with spruce, which will signify that this is the spruce farm, if the trees don't already do that. I actually want to grab a little bit of bone meal to test and see if the podzol thing happens. I'm kind of concerned it will, but at the end of the day, I guess it's not that big of a deal. Okay, please don't turn. Did any? Oh, that became pods. Oh, I really thought that was going to be enough. It should collect pretty much all of the saplings though from the leaves, besides those two and the ones on the very edge. It should be able to get all the saplings. While I think about what I'm gonna do with this tree farm, I actually want to go ahead and build the tree farm for the acacia trees, which is gonna be a funky one since they probably grow in the weirdest orientation compared to every other tree in the game. Although I do have an idea. It's gonna be pretty similar to the spruce tree by having a circular base, but what I'm thinking is doing something a little like that, and then I'm gonna place some hoppers in just so I can kind of get an idea here. Okay, yeah, I have a vision. I'm gonna go ahead and put the chest, let's say right here. I'm only gonna do a single chest since I typically am not using acacia. And just like the other farms, I'm gonna do a trim around the outside of the slabs of the type of block. To finish things off, I just need to place the saplings in, and yeah, that should get the job done. I'm gonna go ahead and build another one here, and then I might build a third one just because each one of these only holds 4 acacia trees, which honestly isn't enough. What are you guys doing here? Ultimately, I opted to build 4 of these acacia farms just because there is only 4 saplings on each farm. So I think once we have 16 trees all grown up, that should be more than enough. I also had to use 3 of my last 6 diamonds to repair my diamond axe because I really don't want this thing to break since it already has efficiency and silk touch on it. Taking a break from working on the tree farms, I actually want to go ahead and start building this next structure, which is going to be our wood storage. One of the big things I want in this world is to have almost dedicated areas to store separate items. Although before I build this next structure, I actually want to bring the ground up by 1 block for about half of this platform, because right now, honestly, it looks kind of stupid. That is looking much better. I also have a little pathway here just out of coarse dirt, but I think it's about time to build this next structure, which is going to be the wood storage. And it's going to kind of resemble this building a little bit, but I'm going to be using some different blocks like stone and stone brick. So to be completely transparent, I already spent about an entire hour building a structure, and I got the thing all finished up only to realize that it looked like complete shit, and I really did not like it. So I tore the whole thing down, and now we're at this point where I'm building another building. Even though it's sucked that I wasted so much time, I'm glad that I ended up deciding on doing a different building because I think it's going to fit this area a whole lot more than the last one did. Just like that, this building is about 90% complete. Anyways, the way I have the storage set up right now is each type of wood is going to have 2 double chests and a barrel. The 2 double chests can be used for logs, and then the barrel I kind of have for like planks, accessories, and all that stuff, but I have a feeling it's going to overflow into one of these chests, which is totally fine. That's why I gave each lumber type so much more storage than it'll probably ever need. There's also 10 slots, which if I remember correctly, there's 10 types of wood in the game because we still have jungle, cherry, pale, and then the 2 nether, which is a stem and whatever. I can't remember the other one. Although there is a few more things I still need to do to that building, I actually want to come back over to the spruce tree farm because I'm going to be redoing it like completely. But first, I need to get rid of this thing. I've ultimately decided that I really don't want to grow any of the 2x2 spruce trees in this area because I have a huge problem with the podzol that spawns in from them. So instead, I rather just do a few smaller ones like we have for the oak and the birch, but just do it for the spruce trees. Oh my goodness, I was running out of breath there. I think I can fit 2 or 3 of them up here, so I'm gonna go ahead and build them. But first, I'm gonna need a whole bunch more wood so I can craft the crap load of chest. I went ahead and chopped 1 spruce tree down, only to realize my axe is about to break again. So using my last 2 diamonds, I repaired this thing for hopefully a final time and chopped down 6 more large spruce trees, which should be enough for the rest of the hoppers I'm gonna need. I'm planning on doing 2 of these smaller spruce tree farms up by our storage, which I don't think I'm gonna use very often because I could just grow a 2x2 spruce tree and get way more logs, but I felt like I should at least put a few of these in just to help with the vibe. Besides that, I also added in 1 dark oak tree farm, which I'm probably not gonna use very often either, but it's worth having. I have no idea what to build in this open area down here. I feel like I maybe should build a few more of these oak and birch tree farms just since I'm using oak all the time, but I also feel like I should maybe put some sort of structure down here or even like a crane or something. I'm gonna do a crane because I have yet to build one and I think it will look really cool. I really don't know how to design or build a crane, so I decided just to go on Google and find an image and pretty much make a mere replica of it. I was so happy with how this crane turned out that I decided to build a second one up by the spruce tree farms, but this one had to be a few blocks taller, so I'm not building it like where the spruce trees are gonna grow. Once I had the second crane complete, I decided I wanted to build at least 1 more oak tree farm, so I cleared out this spot behind the lumber mill, which should have just enough space. But you know what? We're not going to do another oak farm. We're going to bring back in another 2x2 spruce tree farm because I feel like if I don't build one, I'm going to be kind of sad in the future. Anyways, the podzol is still definitely going to be an issue up by the street, and I'm missing a piece of dirt, but I've just decided to deal with it, and honestly, it doesn't look too bad, especially considering I'm using coarse dirt and rooted dirt as a path block. But I have noticed every single one of the trees that have grown in on one of these farms has all been like the super tall ones, and I wonder if that has to do with maybe the hoppers or even the fence posts. I have no idea. Moving on, there is quite a bit more things I need to button up around this place before I can call it finished, and one of those things is building some pathways down by these smaller tree farms. I'm all out of rooted dirt and coarse dirt, so I just opted to do some normal pathways using my shovel, which I think ended up looking nicer than if it were to be the other types of dirt. I would like to also not only have a pathway here, but I want to do a wall along the front, similar to the one that we have on our starter island. Although, as you can tell, there is a lot of oak logs involved, so I guess it's time to put these farms to the test. And you know, not too bad. I got just over a stack of logs from harvesting both of the oak farms, although that is not what I like to see. A lot of the saplings are getting stuck on the pieces of dirt. I mean, do we even have a single one in the chest yet? We have just 1. Honestly, that's a problem for later. I want to get going on this wall. I was only able to get about half of the wall complete before I ran out of logs, so while I waited for some more oak trees to grow in, I decided to continue working on the pathways, building a staircase from the lower level up to the higher level, along with cleaning up any other crappy looking areas. For example, something I've deeply been avoiding is cleaning up this big old dirt wall. It needs to go. Definitely better, but it's going to need some bone meal once the dirt turns into grass. So after harvesting a couple more trees, my axe is nearing the point of breaking, and I don't have any more diamonds to fix it. So as a temporary solution, I'm just gonna go ahead and craft myself an iron one, which I can use to strip all of these logs as I'm building the wall. As I waited for more oak trees to grow, I grabbed a couple stacks of bone meal and ran around the entire lumber mill, bone mealing any areas that felt too bland. And just like that, I would call this lumber mill complete. We have a farm for each one of the saplings that I have, because oh my god. I have yet to get cherry saplings or pilled saplings, but when we do get those, we'll definitely add in a farm for each of those tree types. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already. And for those of you guys who want the world download, there'll be a link down in the description to my Patreon, where you'll be able to download not only this world, but also all of my other ones. Anyways, thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next one.